Hello everyone and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me as always is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm alright. Did you seriously just do the intro?
Yeah, I just did the intro. Why?
Because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that works.
You get to hear it. It's very rarely does Jake get to have like a surprise on the podcast.
Well, if I don't like the intro, I'm just gonna paste in my own intro.
Okay, that actually would be funny.
So if you hear Charlie's, that's because it was okay. But if you don't hear Charlie's, that's because it wasn't okay.
If you hear Jake's and you're like, man, Charlie really does make the intro look hard, doesn't he? Or at least sound hard.
Yeah, you'd be like, wow, he does it way more smoothly than Charlie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway.
So what are we talking about here today, Jacob?
Well, occasionally we meet once a week and we discuss TV show pilots that we've created. And I've created a fun one, I think at least. Maybe it's not. We'll find out.
Ooh, a fun one.
This was a struggle to find because I put my notebook somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't find it.
Is it one of those that you made
It's resurrected this...
Is it old? Is it like when you wrote like 6 months ago or something? Or is it brand new?
It was a premise that I wrote a while ago, but the actual story I finished recently. Because when I wrote the premise, I didn't bother to finish the rest of the story. Anyway, the story is called Cracks in the Slab. Now, I'm up to changing the name, but we'll see.
I like the name.
But you don't even know what it's about yet.
Yeah, but I'm imagining the title sequence, and I know this probably won't work, but like the Incredible Hulk font, you know, from the old Incredible Hulk cartoon, and like the comic books where it's all made out of bricks.
Interesting. You want to see a crack?
A crack in the slab, and like
I was picturing sort of like a Game of Thrones, like we like follow the crack, and it's sort of like in that same animation style that the Game of Thrones intro's in. You're like following the many cracks as they split off.
Yeah, and go to different
and it comes out, and it slowly comes out, and it's like the title, Cracks in the Slab. Anyway, our protagonist is Anna Reach. And sort of the premise of the show is it's a time travel show surrounding alternate realities.
Okay.
So Anna is a graduate physics student working on time travel with her dad, Raymond Reach. He dies and leaves his research to her. And our story picks up where she graduates with a PhD and is working on the machine. And sort of the beginning of the first episode is her finishing the time travel machine. Mm-hmm. And in this universe, the time travel machine is an armband. So kind of like what you see joggers wear.
Oh,
where they got like their phone, and it's like
is it like on their bicep?
Around their bicep. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's got time travel things. Is there a watch thing?
I wanted it to be convenient, but not a watch because everyone does a watch.
You're right. But I think that maybe the first episode should end with a. And I don't really know much about the show already.
Haven't even heard the season plotline, which may highly disrupt how you want the first episode.
No, I'm just talking about aesthetics now. I want the time machine, like, it's really clunky and bulky, and it's got all these, like, big wires and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, at the end of the first, episode and throughout the season, it becomes more, like, streamlined, because she works on it.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Camera.
That's good.
Yeah, that's all.
I was afraid you were going to define the first episode before I even told you what it was about.
I think in the first episode, she should fight the Loch Ness Monster.
Well, no, she, like every time traveler, her first thing she does is she travels back in time and she shoots Hitler. So she travels back in time. He's giving a speech on his balcony. She warps up behind him. So first, before she does that, she goes to that building. Because the way this time travel machine works is that you go to exactly the same spot you were at, right?
Oh, I like that.
Which makes sense. So she goes to the building that he was at, and stands like behind where he was giving the speech, and she like does historical research, and she finds out like this is where he was at this time. And it's instantaneous. When she presses the button, she's in that time period. It's not, there's no like,
she's
warping
in
sequence. It's just boom, she's in 1943.
Yeah.
Probably before 1943, probably like
probably.
1937.
Back big speeches time when he was doing the big
1936.
speeches, getting everybody hyped. You
Yeah,
know?
before he killed a bunch of people.
When
This is
everyone was
probably
like-
what you want. I don't want to do 1943 after he murdered a bunch of people.
She's just like 1945, 10 minutes before he shoots himself, just bang.
Kyler,
I
bam.
got him. You're welcome, world.
No, so like 1936, he's given the speech, shows
Yeah.
up behind him, shoots him in the head, and then instantly warps back to her reality. And she's like all happy. Or no, sorry, she doesn't instantly warp back. Shoots him, walks outside all happy. Everyone's like screaming and stuff because they're like, their leader just died.
Yeah, she gets a
She
nice...
warps back to her reality. But it doesn't look like her reality. So upon returning, the world is a Stalinistic dystopia, as she doesn't obviously realize this immediately, but all the buildings are gray and that sort of Soviet architecture.
Yeah.
And she like goes into like this library. Most of the books are like destroyed, but there's like an official Stalin history textbook.
Yeah.
And she reads through it, and she finds basically out that after Hitler died, the Russians sort of just bulldozed through Germany, and then used their economic might to bulldoze through the rest of the world. And so Russia took over the world, essentially.
No, I mean, not good for them, but you know what I mean.
They developed the nuclear bomb first, and they nuked the U.S. and all that stuff.
What parts? But the good parts? Or like, parts?
No, we can just nuke Ohio. How about that?
Oh, well, that's not gonna hit anybody. That's like, the Russians wouldn't waste a nuke on maybe if the Russians made 2 nukes, and they were like, we're gonna drop one in a heavily populated area, and we're gonna drop one in North Dakota, just to, we'll put the fear of God into both parts of the country. The rural part and the city part.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they would do, I think, because those Russians
Yeah, the rural
are
part would be like, wow, that nuke really got the Addams family. That's so sad.
And, now those cows look real weird.
Yeah. It's very strange.
And everyone's got cancer. Huh. Well, such is life. I'm not going to pay for a doctor because this is America, and I don't have any money.
Well, it's new Stalinistic America, so
They still don't have any money. Do they have nationalized health care?
I didn't really think about the government system of my Stalinistic dystopia because it disappears in the first episode. So she's in the Stalinistic dystopia. I'm imagining like it's like a really infirm Stalin's in charge of it. Like he's like 130, and he's like in a wheelchair, all like with tubes all over him, holding him together. But he's still in charge, and people are really scared of him still.
Is it modern day? Is it like 2021 Stalinistic dystopia?
It's like early 2010s.
Okay. Because I'm thinking if streaming is a thing, like there's only one live stream that exists, and it's just a continuous video of Stalin sitting in this huge, like, massive scary guy chair with all these tubes and like medical things coming out of him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is his propaganda thing. He's literally Big Brother always watching.
Yeah, and there's like a big TV screen on like the skyscrapers. And it has like just that video feed playing when she walks outside. She's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, and maybe we could have a Xbox, but we replace the X with one of those crazy Russian letters.
Oh, okay.
I think that'd be fun. And
all the games are like, I don't know. It's like Stalin action games, every single one.
Yeah.
It's Stalin killing a bunch of capitalists or something.
And it's like, oh, it's watching you all the time, just like our great leader.
Yeah, they got to connect, but they're very clear that the Kinect is always watching you.
Yeah.
Unlike Microsoft, who says it isn't.
And all the protagonists in every one of the games, because maybe they're not all Stalin, but every protagonist has a big Stalin mustache.
Every protagonist?
Yeah, every
or
protagonist.
You mean antagonist?
No, protagonist, because they're the good guys.
Wait, what?
Protagonist is the good guy.
Anna doesn't have a mustache.
Yeah, no, I'm saying in all of the video games.
Okay, you lost me completely.
In their version of Call of Duty,
I gotcha.
all of the main characters, male, female, children, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Everyone
I was worried
has
if
a
you
big
wanted
mustache.
Anna to have a mustache.
Maybe she grows one. Maybe she gets in trouble for not having one. That's
Maybe
part of
they're all supposed to have mustaches.
It's a it was part of the state mandated uniform.
Anyway, so she's from her research at the library. She's like, okay, well, I gotta stop this. So obviously what I need to do is I need to stop myself from shooting Hitler. So we get this. So she goes back to the building where she shot Hitler, and now it's a Russian military base. Mm-hmm. So she's like, okay, this is gonna be harder. Last time it was like just a museum, so that was easy to get through.
Yeah.
I just walk in, pay that $5 ticket fee. This time, she's got to get past all these military people. Mm-hmm. Now she's not like combat trained, so she doesn't really have that on her side, but she does have the time machine that instantly brings her back and forth between the two realities.
Yeah.
So basically, we see her like sneaking around this place, like being chased by guards and such. But she's like, just before they grab her, she switches realities. So then she's back in Nazi Germany, and the Nazi German guards are chasing her. And then she switches back, and then it's the Russian guards. But like, she's using the two realities to continually avoid them.
I like it, but I think maybe
and so if there's like a blocked doorway, like she switches to Nazi Germany, and the doorway isn't blocked, walks through, then switches back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that there's like. There's some different. Maybe we should have the time machine be like, the farther you go back, the longer it takes for the calculations for it to work.
You know? It's got to recharge.
Or not. If not, it's got to recharge, but it's just got to figure out the math to go back to that date. So maybe it's just like you can like travel instantaneously without it having to do any math, like 5 seconds into the past. Or 5 or 10 seconds into the future, or whatever.
Well, I sort of thought of it like, because I want the sequence to be her switching between the Nazi and the Soviet guards.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like if she has the calculations set up, it's instantaneous, but she has to set up the calculations for each jump. So if she wanted to change it to 5 seconds before, it would take her like 10 minutes to set up the new destination. Like, she has to do all the math and such.
Yeah, I think it would be fun if we could have her, because I agree that the Nazi Stalin dictatorship guards like sequence would be fun and is a good idea, but I think it'll also be a good idea if we could have her like in the future of the series, as she gets to know the time machine better and like works it out better. She can be like, all right, I'm gonna travel 10 seconds to the future, and that means I'm gonna be, I'm gonna slap this guy, travel 5 seconds into the future, he's gonna be on the other side of the room, and I'm gonna hit him in the back of the head with something heavy.
That actually really works for where I have the show ending. So we could do that. So as she learns how to use the time machine better, and she, as you said, like makes it better, because right now it's all clunky and wiry.
Maybe she can only put like program one time at one different time. At
a moment, but like in the future, she's got like a favorites tab. And
she's got like presets. She's got like the speed dial. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so she goes through the whole thing. This is still a pilot, by the way. Makes her way to the building where Hitler was in that spot in the military base, warping back and forth, obviously, and it ends with her stopping herself from killing Hitler by swapping Hitler with a body double. So she doesn't interact with her old self. She just like, instead of having Hitler go out for the speech, she like shoves the body double out and she like knocks Hitler out and puts him in like a little room.
She saves Hitler's life.
And she like, she's in Germany, so maybe she speaks fluent German. And she's like, hey, you need to go out there and pretend to give the speech because we think there might be an assassination attempt. He's like, okay, I'm the body double. And goes out there, gets shot by old her. And she's like, oh God, all right, I saved it. And she warps back, goes outside, warps back, and it's even worse. This time it's like a future Nazi cyberpunk dystopia. Because this is like, it's going to end with her realizing it's even worse when she walks outside. But the next episode, she's going to be doing research and find out that like, because I scared Hitler, he became more cautious, and before he started the war, he developed better super weapons, and he easily plowed through everyone that there was this time because he knew he was more cautious. He thought the Allies were already out for him, trying to assassinate him.
Yeah. So then what'd she do?
So the season idea is that she progresses through the timeline, continually trying to fix her mistakes. But it's just different dystopias. Not always worse, but it's always just different.
That's funny. I like that. That each time she's just like, fuck. Now Goebbels is in charge. And like, everything's like dystopian propaganda, mind control stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the population's just basically sheep. It's,
And the idea is that around the third or fourth episode, she begins to being chased by these mysterious agents in black suits through every timeline she's in. They warp with her in black suits with like these fighter pilot masks on. So when I say black suits, I don't mean like black tie. I mean like a jumpsuit. Okay. With fighter pilot masks on. I think and they're chasing her with like these like futuristic energy bolt guns, kind of like the way they work in Blade Runner. You know, so it's like a laser gun, but it's not like wimpy like Star Wars. It's like you don't even see the laser; it just burns a hole in something. Yeah, it's just dead. Just pull the trigger. It's got a cool sound too. I don't know what the sound's gonna be, but the sound engineers are gonna kill it. Every time that shoots, people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, that's awesome." Anyway, episode 5, she's gonna learn by capturing one of them. That they're called the Sin, SYN. And they're this time society that is in charge of is dedicated to making sure the timeline is okay. And she's really fucking up the timeline, so they're trying to stop her. And she also finds that she takes off his mask, which is a mistake because it kills him. And she finds out that their time machines aren't like hers. They're not as sophisticated. So this time society has a worse time machine than the person they're chasing. Because it's like the whole suit is the time machine, and then they need the mask to provide them with oxygen because for some reason they can't exist in like the pre-society with their oxygen. Maybe it's like they're aging. They age exponentially as like the time machine travels back and forth. Yeah. You know, like they age more. So when she takes the mask off, he's like, because I'm imagining, you know, she's got this guy, he's in a fighter pilot helmet and a like big jumpsuit on, or a black like jumpsuit on, and hands tied behind his back, and he's like speaking this crazy like future language of or whatever, and she like slaps him at Samuel L. Jackson style, like, English, motherfucker, do you speak it? And, you know, slaps him again, and he's like starts speaking English or whatever. Like, he's like, yes, I figured it out. This Sin, you know, basic training has us learn every language known to mankind or whatever. Yeah. And he's explaining like that you've been fucking up the time stream. You've created about 50 alternate realities within the last week, and we've had to clean up every single one of them. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Please. And in that sort of moment, she's like, all right, I'll just try to fix it. I need to get these people off me, so I'm going to try to fix it. And she like, you know, the next few episodes is sort of like really trying to repair the timeline, but it just keeps getting worse. And eventually, in the penultimate episode, she is captured sort of willingly. Like they catch her, and then she just sort of gives herself up because she sort of realizes that, you know, she's not going to be able to fix the timeline. Yeah. And she's sort of like, her idea of this Sin is that they're going to be able to fix it. And so she's captured and she's put on trial for disrupting the timeline. And she comes to terms with her actions. She's like, yeah, I'm a bad person. But in her jail cell, her cellmate is a rogue member of the Sin. And he tells her, like, he realizes who she is, and he tells her, like, no, you can't let the Sin you know, have your time travel technology, because with it they'll be able to set up the world in the way they want to do with it. They want it to be. So they want a perfect history. That's like they're sort of religious about it. They have a perfect timeline, and it's like this dictatorship of the Time Lords. Yeah. And so essentially it's just another dystopia, but it's, you know, them in charge. Yeah. But so that's how the penultimate episode ends. I enjoy it, but I got a few tweaks. Oh, wait, I'm not done yet. This is the final episode.
Oh, sorry.
The penultimate is second to last. Do you not know what that means?
I know. I'm sorry. I misheard.
Do you have tweaks before I get to the final episode?
No, I want to hear the final episode.
Okay. The final episode, she breaks out of prison with the help of her little rogue buddy. He's like, hey, I can help you out. And because he like gives her her suit, the suit, and she uses it to sort of like warp out of the jail cell.
Yeah.
Anyway. And she steals back her tech by stealing like a lab coat and posing as a scientist, using all of her sciencey knowledge to impress them and make them think that she's a scientist working for Sin.
Yeah.
And so she gets back her warp tech, and in the final sequence, it's an epic battle of her warping around in the timeline as she makes her way through the complex. This is where we could probably implement like her doing like a few seconds before. Or a few seconds after, or yeah, and so we could see these cool sequences where there's like 6 of her, like going around because there's like one ahead and one behind, all like beating up guys, or like there's a dude that punches somebody from behind, then she's in front. She like punches him in the front. Maybe
it's like we cut and it's like every frame she's in a different place on the screen, or every few frames she's on a different place on the screen, just hitting a different guy. And, you know, after a few seconds, they all fall down. And I imagine she's got the cool laser gun at this point.
Yeah, she probably stole their guns, yeah.
Yeah. Or one idea I had, but what happens? You have to finish.
So she's warping around through the complex, killing the Time Lords, now knowing that they're like, you know, evil bad guys. And it ends with her killing the director. And she takes charge of the Sin, making it a new organization where she's trying to repair the timeline, but under her leadership, not trying to make a dystopia.
I like that.
So it sort of ends with her being in charge. We don't see the timeline fixed, but we see that she's in charge now.
Yeah.
And she's going to try to fix it.
Yeah. Okay. I enjoy that a lot. I enjoyed the series.
Thank you. Did you get it? The names?
No.
Anna and Sin.
Oh yeah.
Anachronic, synchronic. Pretty clever.
Yeah, if you say so. I'm not clever enough to get it. I'm too stupid.
Oh, anachronic means like or synchronic. Obviously, you know what synchronic means.
I don't.
It's synchronized time.
Okay.
Anachronic means the opposite.
Okay. Non-synchronized time.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I like it. Now that I know that those means, that is pretty clever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's your tweaks?
A few tweaks. Maybe could the laser guns just be the bad guys making a gun with their hand, like they're a little kid, and it shoots a blast out of it? So she only get
childish.
When she but it comes with the suit. It's part of the suit.
Okay.
And she only gets the laser blaster when she gets the suit, and she's like, "Man, this is way easier than holding a gun. You just make a gun with your finger and blast."
Maybe in the end sequence, she's not wearing the fighter suit, but she's got like the sleeve of it on.
Yeah, maybe
just the sleeve, using it as the gun.
Maybe the sleeve is like, because I'm imagining these jumpsuits as looking kind of like big garbage bags, but they're all like super high-tech technology that just looks like a garbage bag.
No, I pictured it kind of just looking like, fighter pilot jumpsuits.
Yeah, I just look, picture it as like a nylon, jumpy, baggy jumpsuit, like I don't know. But she's got a little, like, her time machine, which is on her arm, and the torn thing goes up all the way past the time machine, and that's where she tore it, so it still works, because it's been, like, tightened. Also, maybe the rogue Sin operative should be her from the future.
The rogue Sin operative.
The rogue Sin operative in the prison should be a parallel dimension version of her from the future, who's like old and enfeeble, and she's like, "Oh my God, I realized why I failed, so I could tell you how not to fail, and so I won't exist." And so, they help each other out, and she gets out of the prison with the help of her,
older self who failed. Okay.
And then that person just disappears.
Yeah.
Because their timeline has been resolved. And so she, is talking to them, looks away for a second, and then they're gone. Or she's gone. And it's like, whoa. Like Batman, but she's dead. You know how Batman does that?
Yeah, I gotcha. Like, look one way and look back and they're gone. Yeah. I gotcha.
Also, I'm imagining the Sin operatives as like you take the helmet off, and it's like peeling off a layer of their skin, and when you take it off, it's like they've got like this. I'm imagining it, I think, a little bit more sci-fi silly than you are, but they've got like glowing green skulls that are screaming underneath in their helmets because they've been like, at least the older operatives have been exposed to so much like time, sphere radiation that it's like destroyed their insides, but they can't die. They haven't died because the suit's keeping them alive. And maybe that's something you could work into the second season, is she hasn't taken the arm off of her, like the arm from the suit off of her regular arm, and like her bones are starting to turn green, and it's like, ooh, you gotta get that worked out, because she's becoming exposed to all this time radiation.
Maybe, but she just has the gun though in the arm, right? Yeah. So it's like,
but
I don't see how that makes any sense. She'd have to have the whole suit on for it to be working, because it's not like a time machine at that point. It's just a gun.
Well, yeah, I guess. But she's also time jumping all the time anyway.
Yeah, but her technology, she perfected it. She knows what she's doing.
That makes sense. But yeah, like, okay, have you ever seen RoboCop?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen RoboCop 2?
No.
Okay, well, there's a scene in RoboCop 2 where they have, like, they're showing off all the new RoboCops, the new and improved RoboCops. And there's one guy, he's got, like, a robot head and a human face underneath of it, and he grabs the robot head and, like, pulls it off, and he, like, rips off his, like, skin, all the skin from his face and everything, and, underneath is just, like, an electronic screaming skull, and it's, like, all gooey and gross, and, it's 80s, so it's, like models and stuff, but that's kind of what I'm imagining. And she doesn't know that the helmet has become like a part of this guy's physiology. So in that like, scene, she's like, I'm taking this off you, and he's like, no, and she thinks like, oh, he just doesn't want me to see his face or blah blah blah, and he like rips it off of she rips it off of him, and it's like she's like horrified because maybe this is the first person she's killed that isn't Hitler.
Yeah, that isn't Hitler.
Yeah, because you probably don't feel that bad after killing Hitler, but killing like a non-Hitler person,
especially by accident.
Yeah, and maybe younger agents have the pew pew finger gun thing, and like more experienced agents have the cool blaster. You know? That way we can have our cake and eat it too. Because we get the cool blaster that's got the badass noise. We also get the funny... I think it's a funny image in my head of these guys in big black jumpsuits like chasing her while shooting like little blue lightning bolts out of their fingers.
Well, I don't want you to see the shot.
Huh? Yeah.
I don't want you to see it. It's just like, it's like Blade Runner where it's just sort of fries the side of the thing.
Well, maybe that's the blaster. And it's just like, holes show up places.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But also, I like this show a lot. And I think the legal thing, when she's on trial, we should really get into the legal minutia of this. Of
time travel law. I feel like it should be like, they're going to go through like all of her cases.
You have 15 counts of alternate timeline displacement. 31 counts of unlawful manslaughter in the 5th degree, and 16 counts of trespassing. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor. Send her away, and they kick her into a big pit.
Big pit, yeah.
Yeah, big pit. Because what else are they gonna do? It's like the pit for Batman, Batman's back. Hey everybody, it's me, Batman. I'm back.
Back.
What's it called? Dark Knight Rises.
Yep, that's the movie.
Yeah, hey, it's me, I'm Batman, and I'm back, and I've got a mustache. Whoop, not anymore. Remember that part in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Is that movie trying to tell me that he literally didn't leave his house for 8 years? Because that's fucking ridiculous.
Yes, that's what the movie's trying to tell you.
Dude, that's ridiculous. Like, he didn't leave his house at all for 8 years. And
well, he got an injury. He didn't get that at the end of
Well, they were like your cartilage. You don't have any cartilage in your leg because you kept being Batman. And
I think maybe it's gonna be like, or it's sort of like maybe he didn't stop being Batman like right after.
Yeah, but like
The Dark Knight, but like very short, like I don't know, a couple years after. So probably he's been in his house for like at least 6 years. Yeah.
But he didn't go to the fucking doctor because I think he stopped. Like he stopped.
Isn't he
being Batman.
like a doctor though?
But he's not. At least not.
And Alfred's like also a doctor.
Well, obviously not, because the doctor was like, "You fucking fucked your leg up, man. There's like your bones don't. There's nothing in between your bones. They're just rubbing on one another. It's really bad for you." And it's like, yeah. When I started walking with a cane and being unable to stand up on my own 2 feet, I figured there might be something wrong. But I just figured, maybe it'll pass. And then 6 years went by, and I was like, oh well, I'll go into the doctor. And everyone's like surprised to see him. It's not like he's been going to the doctor or anywhere else. Bruce Wayne hasn't been to the dentist in so long. Oh my god.
All right. He's Batman.
But even
every answer to all these questions is because he's Batman.
But it's the Chris Nolan version of Batman who's not very competent.
He's pretty competent.
He's more competent, than me or you.
We don't need to talk about Batman, okay? We just fucking end the show.
He's not that. He's not competent in comparison to Batman.
This isn't about cracks in the slab. I don't want to hear it.
Cracks in the slab. That's the theme song. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Lung. With me, as always, has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot gunner, and pilot provider today, Jacob Gloth. Thank you for coming, Jacob. Thank you for recording your half. Thank you,
How do you know
listener.
I did that? What if it's just going to be your half for the whole thing? And people are going to be like, wow, Charlie doesn't talk a lot for some reason in this one.
I be like, that would not be a very good podcast to listen to except for the last 10 minutes where I just start getting mad about Batman.
Yeah.
Thank you, listener, for listening to this lovely auditory experience that we've all shared. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a lover, tell a stranger, and have a beautiful, wonderful day. You can find me on Twitter at Charles_Lungs, and you can find this podcast, Very Reasonable Pilot Podcast, on Twitter at VRP Podcast. Thank you all for listening, and have a beautiful day. Goodbye.
Bye.